Episode 307, Will AI Take Away Critical Thinking?
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI 6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
This episode was inspired by a question I got last week during a training in Luxembourg. And in fact, it's one that I get all the time. I was teaching very experienced professionals, people who want to move up in their careers, people who are already making big decisions, and they know the value of critical thinking to their work. Hello, and welcome back to AI 6, the podcast that helps you embrace artificial intelligence, but without the overwhelm. Whenever I discuss AI, the same concern always surfaces. What if we lose our critical thinking? If you've not listened to the AI Shame episode yet, episode 166 of AI 6, I recommend you do. AI shame is still very real, and I think in part is linked to that fear around losing critical thinking, especially at work. And today I want to focus on this a little bit deeper. The fear that if we rely on AI, we somehow outsource our thinking to the bots. And I ask myself this question too. I ask it as a practitioner, as someone who works with AI every day. I also ask it as a mother of a 16-year-old just starting out, and the mother of a 30-year-old working in academia. So it's not a theoretical question, it's a human one, and we really feel it to our core. So a few things to set the scene. AI is not your brain, it is an assistant. Think of it as someone joining your team, or more realistically, a series of assistants or agents that you train, guide, and supervise. You provide the goals, you provide the judgment, and you, of course, provide the accountability. The buck stops with you and with I. The goal of AI is not to replace your thinking. The goal is to remove the low-level work that drains your time and your attention. It allows you to go deeper with the work. If critical thinking is not required, then that is where AI earns its perfect place. If critical thinking is required, then that is where you stay firmly in the driving seat. This distinction matters. The real risk is not that AI exists. The risk is passive use. If you accept the first answer, if you do not question the assumptions, if you never interrogate the output, if you let speed replace judgment. That is where critical thinking weakens. And this is not a new fear. We saw the same fears with calculators, with Google, with spell check, with GPS. The tool is not the problem, the behavior is. Used well, AI can actually sharpen your thinking. One of the best uses is dialogue, and I use this all the time. Argue with it. Ask it to challenge you. Go into scenarios. Be in the moment in a future scenario that you're planning or preparing for. Ask it to show you opposing viewpoints. Ask it what you might be missing. Ask it to stress test a decision. This is scenario planning at scale. Voice tools are particularly powerful here because they slow you down. And of course, you're using that natural stream of consciousness from the brain to the voice. You're thinking out loud. And we all know that when you speak your thoughts, something happens. You get clarity. You hear your own gaps. You're forced to articulate your reasoning. That is critical thinking in action. There's also a growing discussion in academia and industry about cognitive offloading, the idea that when tools do more for us, we may engage less. In fact, yesterday's episode around Google and free tutoring speaks to this point. Some early studies suggest that over-reliance can reduce effort, particularly in learning environments, but there is also evidence pointing the other way. When AI is used as a tutor, a challenger, or a reflective partner, it can increase depth of thinking and improve reasoning. The difference is intentional use. Now, let's hear from Shae Omonijo, a PhD candidate in history at Harvard. She created a free YouTube series called Critical Thinking in the Age of AI. And she approaches this not as a technologist, but as a humanist.
Make judgments, not opinions. A critical thinker doesn't just say what they believe. They know why they believe it. Opinions are reactions and judgments are reasoned. For example, the next time you're tempted to say, I just feel like that's wrong, maybe try getting to the point of saying this instead. Here is the strongest reasoning I can offer for this perspective. Building that habit helps you build your intellectual muscles.
For professionals who want to progress, critical thinking becomes more valuable, not less. AI will handle execution, humans will handle judgment, context, ethics, trade-offs, strategy, governance. For young people, the responsibility is not to ban AI, but to teach them how to use it properly. Questioning, verification, reflection, decision-making. These are the skills that matter. So, will we lose our critical thinking to AI? Well, only if we choose to. AI does not take thinking away. Unthinking use does. If we treat AI as an assistant, not an authority, it can become one of the best tools we have for clearer, more rigorous thinking. And guess what? We'll have more time for it. That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategies, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organisation. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.